The reason why we're burnt out has a lot to do with what I'm going to speak about. And it has a lot to do with about how we interact with others with our burnt outness. Because how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about the things that we do in our lives affects everybody else. And so I know this description is like hard as hell to see, but the topic of this video is crabs in a bucket. I know you've heard this term before, like, oh, that's crabs in a bucket, that's crabs in a bucket. Like, everybody in my hometown, they just trying to hold me back. These niggas won't hold me back. These niggas won't hold me back. Yeah, we've all heard those things before. We all know that you feel like everybody just wants to pull you back down to their level. And in reality, I'm here to tell you that there is no level, there is no bucket, and all these crabs in this bucket are you. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that everything that you're doing right now is sabotaging you from escaping and getting the life that you want to live? I can, and I'm here to tell you why. You are the only one that is in charge of your success and you escaping this quote-unquote bucket. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to spoil the video. The reason why you haven't escaped the bucket yet is because you don't know what you're escaping the bucket for. And it's like a lot of us have all these ideas in our mind where we get out of the bucket and we reach this holy land. Like, I don't know what your idea of life or happiness is, but a lot of the times it's money, it's coochie box or triangle, it is business, right? It is this lifestyle, it is this career, briefcase, you know. I be drawing and shit. And so what is the reason you want to escape this quote-unquote bucket? And what is the reason you've put barriers or guidelines on yourself? It's like, who told you that you had to follow this specific framework, this specific way, this specific confined funnel view, or this specific visor, or this, you know, those glasses that make you focus on one thing, just one specific thing to be able to guide yourself to this thing that you want to guide yourself to, whether that be money, pussy, money, this, that, and the third. You did. And so this leads us to the bottom bucket. Obviously, everybody in life feels like they're this big crab right here. Crab number one. I'm the biggest crab, nigga. Whoa. Not like that. I'm not a Crip. No affiliation, gang. But everyone feels like they're the biggest crab in the bucket. Obviously, selfishly, we all feel like that guy. Right? We're all that guy. Like, I'm that guy. I'm him. And niggas will go blue in the face trying to convince somebody else that they're them, that they're him, instead of convincing themselves and finding a way to work with themselves to not only get out of the bucket, but find a new way, right? Find a different way. Find a quote-unquote easier way that fits them and who they are and not the society or the bucket itself. And so we think we're the biggest crab in the bucket, and we think that we have to diss crab number 2, crab number 3, crab number 4, crab 5, 6, 7, 8. We think that we have to be better than them, and we think that they're holding us back. And so likely, because you feel like these other crabs are holding you back, you feel like you guys are all playing the same game. And let's say you have the quote-unquote crabs in a bucket theory where you feel like make it out of hometown is success. Like hometown, like I made it out of hometown, I'm good. It don't matter what I did to get out of hometown, as long as I made it out of hometown, you feel me? Nobody here wanted to see me be successful because they just don't understand. They just da-da-da-da, they just da-da-da-da. Like, as long as I made it out of hometown, I'm good. No matter what I did to get here. I've killed 30 niggas, but I made it out of hometown, I'm good. I made it out of the bucket. It's like, okay, well, I guess. But personally, you could do it much easier. And I'm not here to say if that's your version of success that you're wrong to be a psycho killer and get out of town, but each to each their own, right? But number one, he's the biggest, baddest crab. He feels like everyone in his hometown is holding him back. And so what do these people also feel like? They feel the same thing because they're in the same quote-unquote hometown bucket. So they're like, they feel like they're at the top. 4 feels like he's 1, 2 feels like he's 1, so on and so forth. And in reality, each one of these people has been at each one of these levels. And because everyone feels like they're at the top, they're all pressing each other down. And yes, in some ways, because you all feel like you have to compete to get to this one goal, that you are hurting each other. But in reality, the only person that's stopping you is you. And you thinking that you're the number one crab. And you not finding a way to help everybody escape the bucket. And so what if you just worked with crab 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 to be able to get to the side of the bucket and crawl your way out, right? What if you come up with a plan for everybody in your hometown to band together and become a community, figure out what the goal of the community is in the first place, and figure out the best way to get out of there? Little did you know that crab number 8 has a ladder, but because you think of them as less than, because you think you're better than them, you're the biggest, baddest crab in the world, you don't want to talk with them and get the plan to get out of the bucket, right? Because you feel superior, right? You think they're inferior and you don't want to listen to their plan because they're the small fish for whatever reason you feel like, because maybe you're like about to go to college, right? Remember, the goal is to get out of the hometown. You feel like, I'm about to go to college, I got a college plan. You know what, I'm good, I'm getting out of here. I don't even gotta, these niggas just wasting their time, right? They wasting my time. I ain't gotta interact with these niggas. Fuck them. So instead of just figuring out the best plan for the whole team and getting out that way, niggas just nigga. Niggas be nigging. In reality, what you could do is stop fighting each other, which is really you fighting yourself. Stay to the end of the video to understand why this is all you and all these crabs are you. And just press the release button and just empty out yourself and free yourself from fighting against others and fighting against yourself. And so once you realize that all these crabs are you, and by you not discussing with yourself and your other versions about, you know, what you want and what you desire and what you see as success, and you not doing the work, and you not finding out who you are and even picking a goal, you just stay stuck. You just stay stuck. And you just fight yourself. You fight your community. You hold others down. You do whatever you need to do possible to stay at the top. And you end up never actually being able to release yourself, release others, and get to the goal. And so the 3 steps that I'm going to give you today to finally be able to just stop fighting against people, stop fighting against yourself, stop trying to escape this quote unquote bucket that you put yourself in that doesn't really exist, and to just be able to climb out or release from the bottom, right? Take the harder route and just figure out how to work with all yourselves and just cut down the bottom part. It's tricky. Because some may say like climbing out the top is the best way, but that depends on who is in charge, right? Or who thinks they're in charge. And there's no right or wrong way to quote unquote escape the bucket. Honestly, the best way is to realize first that you are there and that all of the people there are not against you, but they're trying to help you in a way, right? And don't think that because people are in here trying to help you, or you're in here trying to help yourself, that you won't or they won't sabotage you to get to the top spot. Now, this has taken a different turn than what I expected as far as being able to escape the bucket yourself and kind of defining the bucket itself and who is in here and what their motives are. But it all boils down to the ways in which we want to eliminate these barriers on our mind. There's a lot in this video. If you're not understanding, drop it down in the comments. It will make sense. Stick with me. And so now we define the bucket. Let's just go over the definitions really quick. We understand now that the bucket does not exist. We understand now that the people in the bucket are not people, they're you. We understand now that there's multiple ways to get to the goal. Cutting at the bottom, working with you, the people that you think, working with yourself to get out and build a ladder, just dismantling the bucket itself, just saying, you know what are we all fighting for? Let's just fuck the bucket. You pick the route, right? There's multiple ways. It's all up to what works best for you, and it's all up to who you are. And we have determined that you have to pick a goal, and you have to be 100% on board with yourselves to be able to accomplish it and to be able to get there and reach your destination. So we determined those 5 things. Now let's determine the 5 steps to be able to actually apply these things and see the results that we want to see, right? Instead of focusing on being in this bucket with all these people that don't want to see you win, we determine these things. Now let's determine how we can actually see the things that we want to see in our lives. All right? And it's literally those 5 things, but I'm going to give you some additional steps to be able to break out and to be able, once you do get out, apply the information and figure out what you actually want to do in life and the best way for you. And it starts with learning about who you are. Honestly. I can't say it enough. Not only about learning who you are, but why you want to even get out the bucket in the first place. Because chances are, you and all yourselves in this bucket all have reasons. And they're all different reasons, right? Crab number 1 wants to get out of the bucket, and this is all you, remember, stay with me. Crab number 1 wants to get out of the bucket because he doesn't want to have the same lives that his parents had. Crab number 2 wants to get out of the bucket because he wants more money. Crab number 3 wants to get out of the bucket because he wants a house. Crab number 4 wants to get out of the bucket because he wants a wife. Crab, so on and so on and so forth. And these are all versions of yourself. These all exist in your mind. These all exist in the bucket. And so the way to get out is to pick one way, one overarching thing, something that just allows you to build the skills and the values necessary to be able to have enough skills to achieve that, right? And the way that we do it in the MUEL community is through values. And so we're not going to pick, something that has nothing to do with us and nothing to do with who we are as a person. We're going to pick one of ourselves, and let's pick the biggest crab, the biggest part of ourselves, and that is we don't want to be like our parents. And so how do we know that we don't want to be like our parents? We have to first determine and understand who we are as a person and who they are as people. Because how can you be not like someone if you don't know who they are and what version and what to avoid in the mistakes that they've made, right? So you got to learn about who you are. And then you have to learn about what they did, what your parents did, not only to avoid it, quote unquote, to be able to determine what you want to do in your life, Yeah, you want to get out of your hometown and not be like your parents, but what does that have to do with you and what does that have to do with your goal and how are you actually going to accomplish that? What is going to be the reason why you want to accomplish that goal? Because at a certain point in time, your parents aren't going to be there anymore. Your parents are going to be dead. Everyone, your elders, they're not going to be there anymore. Are you going to quit and go back inside the bucket? Or are you going to keep pushing towards the goals and the things that you want out of life? And that's really it. These are not in order, but you got to pick a goal, right? And let it be something that you truly like. Let it be something that you truly enjoy, something that truly comes from you and who you are as a person. Let's say crab number 1 is really good at sports, and they believe that the reason why they're going to be this successful person is because they're going to get out of their hometown. Remember we talked about they had a college degree, or they have a college set up and picked, and they're going to leave in August, so they feel like they're the best and the baddest. And so now, they're getting up out of here. They're like, fuck it, I did it. I don't want to be like my parents. That's fueling me for now. And I feel like basketball is a way that I'm going to get past all of this, right? I have a basketball scholarship. Well, they know that their goal is to be successful, be happy, which is all of our goals. And they have this basketball dream. Okay, cool. dream. And it's like, all right. They picked one thing. And hopefully the thing that you pick you're really good at and you really enjoy it. Because if you don't, you'll end up right back where you started. And so that's the importance of knowing who you are. And for step 4 or 5, you have to realize all of your desires. You have to realize all the things that you want out of life, all the things that you feel like, maybe repressed or not repressed, that you want and no one else can take it away from you, or no one else can say that that's not cool, or no one else can push that desire to the side. And that no one else sometimes is you. And so what can we not do? We cannot push those things that we want to the side. If you want to leave your hometown and you want to pursue basketball and you want to do all these things and be successful and not be like your parents, you can't just hide that desire and say, you know what, I got to stay in my hometown. I got to, be around these people and help my family. You have to pursue that for yourself. You have to go after it and see the things that you are missing in getting that goal. Without the experience, without you going out and trying, without you acting on that desire, which is number 5, taking that action, none of this happens. And so there's a lot to take away from this video. Not only did you get steps about the crabs in a bucket theory and the theory about it not even existing in the first place, but you also now have these actionable steps to be able to overcome the problems that this presents in society. And so let me just give you one more summary just in case you are lost. Remember, there is no bucket. Let me just check your understanding. There is no bucket. You created the bucket for yourself. You and all the people that you feel like you're fighting against, they are all parts of yourselves. There's multiple ways to get to your goal. Don't let this narrow view, this narrow, bucket that you've placed in front of yourself, in front of your goal, stop you from trying other ways. Remember, there is no bucket, right? Had to double back on that, John. I don't know why I doubled on that, John. But there is no bucket, gang. And you have to be 100% on your goal and act on your desires and what you want to do and how you want to get out of that bucket that you put on yourself, or out of those confines, out of those constraints. And you have to pick something that is going to be good for you and good for who you are as a person. And how do we know what's good for who we are and what we do and what we want to do? We have to first understand who we are, right? And that's going to take us out of there every single time. It's like if you understand that all these parts of yourself, if you understand crab 1 through 8 and what they want and how to actually provide those pieces of yourself with that desire or with that sense of fulfillment, you could never lose. And this has inspirations from a video where a creator talks about all the parts of himself and how this number 1 part is anxious and this number 2 part is braggadocious, or this number 3 part is introverted. And this can be anything. It could be any value. It could be any action. It could be anything, right? Let's say all these different things are negative, right? Let's say number 1 is your desire to, I don't know, hurt people. Maybe we should get that checked out. Maybe this video is not for you. Maybe you should get better help. Maybe you should get better help, gang. That is when you seek psychological help. The MUEL community cannot help you with those types, of things. The MUEL community is here to promote positivity. And so if that is you right there, if that is you out there right now, please let me know so I can get you arrested. No, I'll fuck with you, but consult actual help. And so all these things, hopefully, they are positive. But if you want to learn about the buckets that we place ourselves in and how we give ourselves these labels and we give ourselves these rankings and we give ourselves all of these ways of believing and we give ourselves all these limitations, make sure you subscribe. Because in this very next video about the chessboard, I'm going to be breaking down this bucket, right? This individual bucket and what it actually means in society and what it actually means for our goals when interacting with others. Now, the reason why this video may not make sense for the people who go straight there is because they won't realize that they're just going against themselves, right? They're just fighting over and over again, and they're projecting their desires, their wishes, and their reasons why they're not successful and why they haven't made it out of the bucket yet onto others. And so in that video, in the chessboard video, I'm going to be talking about how we project and how we reflect onto each other, all right? These limitations and how it just looks a little bit different because it's a different person. And so make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you look out for the chessboard video. It's your boy, Coach Mew. I'm official like a referee with a whistle. I'm coaching you on the rules of your game, and I'm showing you how to win at them. See you in the next one.